Okay, so this is going to be part two of a little bit of my experiences, or a couple of my experiences, especially related to my narrative and that whole concept that police officers and certain members of this simulation are already controlled entirely, okay, by these parasitic entities that run this world. So back to the story of the detective calling me, accusing someone else's child of being my daughter's bully when we never even said who it was, and then trying to get me to call back, which I definitely didn't, because again, who gave her my number? So therefore, because my original conversation was with the school, never the police department, it's the school who I needed to address, right? So I make an appointment this time. Now I'm coming down to the school. So now I made an appointment to speak to this teacher who, this was going on in her classroom, right? And all the kid was doing was like throwing paper balls and doing stuff like that. But it was like annoying to my daughters. So like I said, that's why my suggestion was to like move the table, like move the chair up, right? Move their chairs up. So they give me an appointment. So I come down. Sim's trying to sim in my view, ignore them when I'm in the office, just ignoring everybody until I finally meet this teacher, because I'm ready for her. Because I want to see how she's going to try to maneuver herself around that. By the way, trying to get that little rendezvous with the teacher who was the homeroom teacher that this was all about, they also kind of gave me the runaround with that. Like, it took some time. Like, they kept saying, like, okay, we'll do it this day. Okay, this day. Okay, that. And, like, it took some time, but I got it done. And she had to meet with me, right, in the end. Because remember, like I said, most of these Sims are, like, basic Sims. They have handlers. They have handlers. And I've seen this so many times that, like, you come into an office and you're talking to them, somebody will pop up and be, like, there as if they're part of the conversation, like they're monitoring. They have handlers, okay? So anyways, so we get into the classroom and I played, really sweet, and I ask about what subjects they're doing well in, what's going on. Then I bring up the topic, because what she tried to do was, because my daughter said that after that happened, and I started sending the text to everybody, like, so everybody could see. And I don't know how this thing is working in the Matrix. They always act like I'm being broadcasted, right? So the next day or so after I sent out the text messages as proof to everybody so that people could see, like, isn't that weird? I just arrived here, and so far, like, these weird things are happening, and I'm not in Barcelona. So then supposedly in the classroom, she came in and she asked people, like, oh, did anybody receive any text message yesterday, or something like this, right? My daughter is, like, very smart, so they did not respond. They didn't say, like, oh, we did, or anything like this, right? So she really wouldn't even know technically. She can't even say, like, oh, that I received it or not, because no one has even said anything, right? So I wait for the meeting, and I said, yeah, I got this message, this text message, and I got it the same day I wrote an email where I was just asking if, anything could be done about this kind of like bullying, if you can move their seats to the front or something. And I thought that was really weird because, at the end of the day, I feel like it's uncalled for. And how did they get my number? And she's like, oh, no, 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 it's that this child is such a problem child. And I said, but we didn't say it was this child. And she's like, no, 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 it's that this child was a problem child. And what happened is that since he did these really bad things a couple months ago, he's been expelled or something. But since your girls were enrolled and or in the class at that time, we had to give everybody's number in the class to the police department. So that was a general text message. So the two messages that I was sent with each daughter's name, okay, was supposedly a general message that they just sent to everyone, which is bull, because they're not gonna individually change everybody's name for the message, and I doubt they send a message addressed to my two daughters, to everybody in the class. Okay, so I'm just listening. I'm like, so I just play along, and I'm like, oh, really? She goes, no, it was a coincidence. He said, no, it was a F up in the Matrix. It was a F up in the Matrix, thank goodness. And I just said, oh, yeah, I know. I said, yeah, because I don't believe, cops, they're really pigs. And then she was just like this, like, you can see in her face the whole simulation programming was. So this is what I'm trying to say. All of these like strange things were being done to try to maybe imagine like if you weren't aware and you would be like curious, because I'm not curious anymore, and be like, oh, what is this about? And you call back, and then they kind of can flip the narrative to kind of convince you that, yeah, because you call, like, you know what I mean? Like, just strange shenanigans. Those I had the receipts for. But the point is this: there's so many things that point to this being a matrix, if you really, or a simulation, if you really just, notice it. And I guess you have to be at a state where you can notice it, unfortunately. So that's the problem. But imagine this being done to other people. I was thinking to myself, like, this kid probably had a soul or something, and they're just going around trying to find people to set try to press charges. So when on top of that, oh, that was the other part. So they tried to make so she didn't blame the police, and the way they got around it was they tried to just throw the kid under the bus. They claim that the kid, this is like to see, to play the race card in this case. It's like, yeah, he was saying a lot of racist comments and a lot of misogynist comments and being disrespectful to the teacher. And I was just thinking in my head telepathically, he didn't cuss you people out enough. He should have cussed you out to the end of the earth. Because I know that's bull. That's all bull. They tried to do that to see if you're going to get sympathy. Maybe they see that you're a person of color and you're going to say, oh, yeah, I was racist. That's bull. It's bull. And on top of that, I know it's bull because my daughter said that kid was really nice to them and he was a nice kid. So it's all bull. Anyways, that was how the Matrix tried to clean themselves of that little story. I'm just letting you know. And like I said, when you hear these, predictive programming ideas in movies where they're going to have robo-cops and robo-dogs and all this, just remember they already do. They already do, because these Sims are programmed as it is, which means they can make them do whatever they want. The same way they used to test the military in the States with all of the new technology and all of the new drugs, and they couldn't say no because they were part of the military. You don't know. I mean, the same way for COVID, people took this experimental drug just to keep their job, right? So if you work in a police department and you're making a certain amount of money and you're like, and they don't tell, like, and you're already a sim, and just imagine how far this goes. Just imagine how far this goes. But at least those were some cases that I could really like prove, like, this is not what it is. This is not what it is. That is not, this is a simulation. Gotcha. So I'm just letting you know. And I want to share these experiences. This is also in my memoirs, and I have a lot of other like stories, but this is just examples of things I want to share with people, because like I said, you could be going through things and you're thinking that it's something else and you don't realize it. And maybe if you were in a city or in another environment, or you're in a lower vibration, you're not registering. You're really thinking like this, and you're getting emotionally involved, and you're getting upset, and you're doing this, and you're moving too quick, and you're not thinking, and that's how they get you. So the thing is, just a little example of some things that have happened to me. If there are other people who've been targeted and have had strange, situations happen, you can always like leave comments and let me know. But I love these situations especially because, like I said, there were things that like even my kids could witness and see, and I had proof of, you know what I mean? So they really messed up with me in that sense in the Matrix. But like I said, everything that the enemy does is always for the glory of God in the end, because God is going to have the last word, and that's it. Their time is over. And that's all I just wanted to say.